You seem bothered by something.
How did we get here?
A CDMP and film presentation from Crazy D, the mind who brings you the Black Ice Chronicles, the Females DVD, and Situations DVD, brings you The Shifter. It's Halloween night at Crazy D's. And a pesky vamp is out for blood. Beware of the Shifter.
That's it. You gotta go beat it damn scram, man. Damn.
Why don't you be a doll and find me a place to change? I need a place to change my clothes before I go.
What? Don't try to hold me on the phone.
D, you been holding out on me?
I was just about to stop and help. You know I helped the crackheads, D.
Some people just don't have originality with their outfits.
It's like I hear voices in my head talking to me and shit.
I saw that punk ass Charles Pippen and his cousin leaving here.
I learned the grace pose.
Get your camera ready.
We're here, like we said, for trick or treat. Crazy, what did you see? You seem bothered by something.
You see that shit?
Hey, that crazy stuck in there.
Oh, what the fuck that was for? Right.
Shit.
Can't stand that shit.
Who's the pit bitch?
Like, I
What
don't
the fuck was she need all hoes? I saw her to scratch that poke that bitch eye.
Beware of the Shifter. Be at the premiere if you dare.
Are you gonna listen to the move?
I've been out the loop since '09.
Yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back to get at that, though. Check this. I'm at the motherfucking house last night. Guess what the fuck I see?
What you see?
Shamika, what's up?
Fuck you think you fucking with? It's Maxwell, bitch.
Fuck you in them shoes.
Bitch, I'm about to stomp you with these shoes.
I thought I told you to get a jump to Crazy D.
I did give it to Crazy D. You know, D, you must have seen money in that. You know, he used to produce those nudie DVDs.
Fuck you, thin man. I know you did it.
Don't let your mouth write a check, cause I will take it out on your ass. Damn, man. You serious?
I don't appreciate being roughed up by men. Or should I say, male bitches.
Yeah, you gonna work out.
And we look for young ladies like you to host them.
I look like somebody that can host your videos.
That's right. So go change, cause we ain't got all day.
Get off the house.
Really good, though. I'm doing that bullshit.
Crazy. What the hell? How you in my room?
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps.
determinedly why I made a curator's pick of the Hollywood Fringe Festival. Community, heart,
What's going on, people? Welcome to another great episode of TFR Podcast Live presents Observations by Crazy D with my special guest host, my sister Tanya M. Congress. How you feeling today? What's going on with you? Let's test out that mic as we seem to have in and out on perfect streaming, but we're going to see what's going on with this. Let's see.
Testing. This is a test of your emergency broadcast system, and this is an emergency broadcast system. Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It's been an information-packed week, and today will be no different. We're starting out the morning today. I wasn't not quite as rushed as I was yesterday, but when I put my headphones on, I don't know if y'all are interested in this or not, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I put my headphones on. So this is the earring that I had on initially, right? So when you put the headphones on, the post this way pushes in to the side of your neck. So as soon as I put these headphones on, I had to do a quick rush and switch of earrings. Fortunately, I have a little arsenal here right beside me at my desk here. And but I got my matcha green tea and my ginger, and with those hot drops that you all hot oregano drops that Tracy and Dee told me about, that still burns my lips, but I am up by one drop and doing well as to be expected under the circumstances. And I notice I don't have my light on. Here we go. That should be a lot better. Isn't that wonderful? You see this beautiful face a lot better. But anyway, things are good this morning, despite the circumstances. How about you, D? How you doing?
Hey, let's be expected under the circumstances, right? Welcome to hashtag TFR Podcast Live episode of observations, right? And we got a jam-packed show for you today, and hopefully this perfect streaming goes on as I'm looking at this. But first, we want to shout out to everyone that is listening on Periscope, Vimeo, Facebook, and the Film Review Life channel on YouTube. Make sure that you smash subscribe on all of those platforms. Press and push, smash share, and let your people know that we are on, and press like as we go through this. Let people know we are on. What is the topic for today? What is the topic for today? And let me also say that you can call in at 213-943-3358. That's 213-943-3358. You could call in, right? And I got things popping up on the screen. I'm trying to keep this together here. Okay, 213-943-3358 for you to be able to listen, or press 1 on your touch tone dial to let us know that you want to be in on the conversation. And lo and behold, here comes a call in. I need you to check for me to see if they're still hearing me, because a call came in on the line that I'm using. So 213-943-3358, right? So what's the topic for today? I dream of angels, but I live with demons. I dream of angels, but I live with demons, right? Have we gotten to the point of wanting something so much that delusional thoughts have set in. We dealt with a flawed candidate who tried to represent American blacks as a pot-smoking, listening to Tupac and Snoop Dogg while in college. Note, Tupac and Snoop Dogg came to popularity after her college years. Party girl Kamala, some people call her Kamala, I call her Kamala Harris. Have we forgotten just last year's news, history? Are we that disillusioned with the system that we still allow ourselves to be tricked by a wing of the system, of that system, to believe what our eyes are showing us isn't true? What happened to the Dixiecrats talking about American Black Reparations during the primaries? What happened to that now in the general? Oh, it's been replaced with Kamala talking women's rights, immigrant rights, and slighting emotional race talk. Let's discuss. The phone line open 213-943-3358. How are we sounding on the line? Could you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you.
Okay, that's good. That's real good. That's what we want. All right. So 213-943-3358. So let's get this show on the road without further ado, right? Make sure you smash the share button, smash the like button. So let's start with this one right here. Let's start with some memes we usually do, right? And let's start with this one. This one's an interesting one, right? If you ever really want to know what God looks like, why don't you just take a look at space or look at the cosmos, and then you would see what God looks like, right? You want to know? All right, people. So here we go. Let the pain make you a leader, not a monster. Now, as you notice, this is an outer space image, right? And this is an image, and I look at it, and it shows me the cosmos, right? And this is also a meme that my sister Tanya put up. So let the pain make you a leader, not a monster. And why did we start with this meme today? We started with this meme today because the pain that has been afflicted upon American black people have made some of us become monsters. So let's keep going. So what do I mean by that? Smash the share button, smash the like button, right? Some of us have become monsters, right? So let's go through this. Here's an image. Here's an image of a free fighter. We don't know how much of a free fighter she is today, but she was a free fighter then. But when you watch that documentary that Jay-Z and Beyonce produced on her, you find out that while everybody was fighting the revolution, fighting the power, she was off somewhere chilling in her underwear and bra, smoking some weed. But anyway, that's just a documentary, and that was like, I mean, oh my God. So, but hey, like I said, are you going to be made a monster, or are you going to elevate with the pain, right? This world will beat you black and blue and tell you that it is your duty as a American black woman, I will put in there, to grit your teeth and take it. F that. Take care of yourselves, right? This came from Amanda Seals, but it's using a image of the woman I spoke of before, Angela Davis. If you ever see that documentary, you will be like, what? While people getting arrested, she was hanging out, trying not to get arrested before the court trial when she came out with the afro, and everybody like, oh, she's black power, black soul power personified, and instead she was hiding out. Now, I dream of angels, but I live with demons. Smash the share button. Smash the like button. Tag your people in it because we are taking another informational, psychological journey to help get off that hamster wheel. 213-943-3358 to get off that hamster wheel, to get off that electric inertia, to use your own inertia, to get off the hamster wheel and to develop your mind state out of that mindset, escaping that mindset and get into your mind state through being able to catch, analyze, and shoot facts to make your mind state, right? So this next has come up, and I keep on marveling at the fact that pestilence has somehow become our friend. I swear, if a cricket or a locust had landed on the man's head during the debate, people would be talking about locust lives matter. Remember during the summertime when the locust had invaded, I think it was Ethiopia, and they had invaded it. But did you know that even if they eat your crops, when you read your Bible in Leviticus, that locust is one of the bugs, or you will call them bugs here, but that is one of the things that you can eat for protein. So while they're eating your crops, they are pestilence, but then as they get fat, you'll get fat because you'll be able to eat them. They're not like the bottom feeders, they're like the roaches, those crawfish, there's something. That's just my opinion, my observation. But when you read in Leviticus and it talks about what to eat and what not to eat, bottom feeders in the ocean is definitely something. That's a shrimp, scrampies, squid, whatever, all that. It's not to eat crawfish, not to eat that, right? But anyway, black flies matter. Black flies matter. I mean, to the extent, who put that up? Now that right there, I would say, is possibly some kind of bot that put that out there, and they knew that somebody that was not as informed would grab that and think that was funny, that was American Black, and sure enough, they did. And here we are, black flies matter. Black flies matter. What do you got to say to that?
I went and looked at that image. They had some still shots from the debate that night, and I saw the speck that was on the vice president's head. And I didn't blow it up, and I didn't think that the resolution would be good, even if I had tried to blow it up here on my screen to see exactly what that was. But just in my mind's eye, just thinking back over situations where there was a fly. I remember the pastor at the church I was at was preaching, and there was a fly that kept coming around. Now, flies represent a lot of things, and up until just now, the fly is being presented as flies are attracted to boo-boo, right? So that's the message that they're trying to convey here, is that the vice president was full of it and he's boo-boo, and so that's why the fly was attracted to him, right? But the fly is also symbolic of demonic activity. In a lot of demonic movies and things like that, you'll see that the fly is pesky and scary when they're in swarms to people who are innocent, right? So there's two ways that you could look at that. When I have flies around and they're pesky and flying towards my face and stuff like that, I know that's of another source. Now, some might take me to task on that, but that's what I know. All right. So it's not necessarily that the fly, if that was a fly, because I had told Dee the other day, with modern technology and the way things are, and especially the slant of the media against this current administration, it would not be unfathomable to me that that speck was placed there on the lens of the camera to be positioned just right, or that speck was there. So, and another thing about flies are attracted when they land in the hair. They're attracted to oils. They would be more attracted to if there were any kind of spray or fragrance in the hair. That's what would attract the fly. But the fly was sitting perfectly still. Even when they land in the hair, they still bounce around a little bit. They crawl around a little bit, which, you know, I didn't see that happening. So, you know, that's subjective. It's all subjective on how you want to look at it. And I think what you want to see out of that is what you're going to see. How you want to interpret it is how it's going to be for you.
Right, because we're getting to, I dream of angels, but I live with demons. Has the pain that we have suffered made you a monster? Here's another one right here. Now, I dream of angels, but I live with demons. Now, remember a few shows ago, like a couple of weeks ago, we talked about Kentucky AG Daniel Cameron's assessment of what happened in Breonna Taylor's apartment, and we showed you where the phraseology kind of slipped. And so you have to know what phraseology is, so you got to go back to that show and watch that show, because we've been building. We don't go backwards, but we're just saying. So now, you know, after we did our show and it spread around, now Kentucky Attorney General files motion to keep Breonna Taylor grand jury files secret. I dream of angels, but I live with demons. Let's continue on. Oh, we're getting started to lay the rubber to the road. Make sure you smash the share button. Smash the share button. Okay, now this one right here, I had awoke from a slumber, and I went to my phone to see what was happening. This was the first meme that came up after my slumber. And my first words was, what? Say, baby girl dies after being raped by her father, who Googled, how do I know if a baby is dead? Baby girl dies after being raped by her father, who Googled, how do I know if a baby is dead? And my first response to that, looking, I said, what? I dream of angels, but I live with demons. Let's continue on. Has the pain that we suffered as a collective whole made us monsters, right? Not all of us, but because we have to be aware of certain situations, right? Because it's always a situation, right? Here's another. Tory Lanez charged in shooting of Megan Thee Stallion faces 22 years in prison, as reported by Rolling Out magazine. I dream of angels, but I live with demons. Now, I'm going to expand a little bit and say because some people say diaspora, like my sister said, like say diaspora. I say diaspora. I say the diaspora, the black diaspora. He's from Canada. He is an immigrant, and he's an American black woman who held it down for him for a very long time, but his people kept talking negatively against Megan Thee Stallion. There is certain damage that has happened to the black diaspora in Canada and Jamaica, Haiti, and they need to be there solving that problem in their country, making it in their country, not coming over here and bringing the dysfunction over here, because we've got enough problems of our own. I dream of angels. I dream of angels. But I live with demons. Now these are our opinions and our observations on it, right? Very much so. Very much so. All right. So look. There was a guy. Let me bring this down first so I can talk to you real quick because you have it. Bad chance. Okay. There was a guy that posted a video the other day. And I listen to what people are talking about. Even if I don't comment, I'm looking and listening to what people are saying. So he was producing an assertion, 213-943-3358. He was producing and had produced an assertion on a live that are black people actually American? So, are people really Americans? So I was listening to the person, and then I commented and I said, well, if you think that American blacks aren't American, when you leaving? When you leaving? Where you going? You know what I'm saying? When you leave there, hopefully you get there fast so that we can start building, because he had referenced Malcolm. Now, we told you before, you got to get off the emotional hamster wheel. What Malcolm says is good, is great. But like we told you in the episode, I know this is going to hurt, baby. If you hadn't watched our previous episodes, it's going to hurt you, but we don't have time to lay out the case for it like we did in the episode. We got to just keep moving forward, and you go back to episodes 32 down to 1 and watch and get your notebooks out and all that. Listen, Malcolm's movement is a failed movement because he died. Malcolm X's movement was a failed movement because he died. Now, he as a personality is good, but we can't continue to... What's the term, Tanya, when people are infatuated with the dead? They worship the dead.
Necrophilia.
Okay. Isn't that sex with the dead? I thought that's sex with the dead.
Or maybe it's necromancy.
Necromancy. Okay, they're in romance with the dead, but when they were alive, they couldn't give up about them.
Right.
What Malcolm is saying, and if you have lived in it long enough and have been in the struggle long enough, you realize that what Malcolm is saying is not saying to bounce America, but it was words to make America better. But of course, you would have to have taken some classes on black rhetoric to know that. You would have to take classes on black rhetoric to know that. If America is not good and we have never been seen, he went on to talk about the neighborhoods, right? And I have episodes of the Black Ice Chronicles where I dealt with this, where I wrote two Caucasian police detectives, and I hired two black actors to play, two white Caucasian actors to play those roles when I was back in Cleveland. and they were coming in to investigate a murder of one of the fictional characters I had written based on a amalgamation of people I had seen over the time in my 15 years in retail, called Big Pimpin', and it had been like maybe almost a year before they coming in to investigate something that had happened a year. So as we get into the discussion, we started to talk about how the money is stolen by the politicians, and then they go off and they build urban sprawl. That's another, we talked about urban development on another show, urbanizing and all that. You have to go back, you have to catch up. But they build urban sprawl out in places where you will still see raccoons and rabbits, etc., etc. Skunks, all that, right? And they try to kill the skunks and the geese and all that. Why are the geese still walking that same path? Well, that was the path they had before you urban sprawl. But that's another story for another time. But the money goes with it. When we look at American Black neighborhoods, whose responsibility is that? If we have a representative government, then the people who are representing you, who are supposed to be American Black, are supposed to be getting those dollars not to just regentrify your neighborhood, but to build your neighborhood for you. I dream of angels, but I live with demons. Smash the share button. So whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? Someone put a pin in that. Put a pin in that for a minute. So I go on to say that to push this right here. This is a comment that came underneath the under his post, right? And I grabbed it because I said, oh, this person is clicking. Smash the share button, smash the like button, smash, link all your people, tag your people in this. We are going on a journey, a psychological journey to get off the hamster wheel, and to make your mind state and get out of that mindset that makes you a drone. It makes you a robot. They can predict you what you will do when you're in that state. So this is what the guy said. I've been here. White people cannot be Americans because they cannot trace their ancestry back here to America, but you could ... Hello. Let me read it again because people have to catch up. See, we're not in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. So a lot of that is cool and it's good to reference to know where you've been, but that cannot be applied. It has to be built upon to know the mistakes of the past so that you can move forward with some new thinking. Some advanced thinking. I've been here. White people cannot be Americans because they cannot trace their ancestry back here to America. But you could. Hello? And then they give the definition of what an American is. And if you do enough study, when they are talking about copper people, when you read your Bible and Revelations and it describes Christ, the return of Christ with the fire in his eyes, the woolly hair, the feet burnt like bronze, or they say copper in some books, depending on the translation. It says American, adjective, pertaining to America, American, noun, a native of America, originally applied to the aboriginal or copper color races found here by the Europeans. Now, they weren't found here, they were here, and they just came a visiting. And so it wasn't a discovery. The civilization was already here. But when you have researched this, you know this, and you understand only 388,000 Africans actually landed on the shores of what wasn't even called America initially. We built America. America had already had its trade routes already going. That's why I asked, do you know trade routes? Do you know? But that's another show for another time, right? The name America must always exalt the pride of patriotism. That's what Washington said. But they knew Washington wasn't one of the originals. Washington chopped down the cherry tree. His father or his grandfather was probably one of the originals, which they don't talk about. But the copper-colored people that were here, how many of you knew? I mean, you heard about the Pilgrims and they show you the $5 Indians, but how many of you knew that when you look up the porcelain representation of what they saw when they arrived here is, I'm going to just say, kinky hair and my skin tone and browner and darker. And they said Ethiopians because they had seen Ethiopians and they saw the people here and they said they were Ethiopian. So to say that we are not American, I mean, you could take it in many different ways to say, well, America, Vespucci. But this is what it is, and we built it, so we are here. So if we are not American and we have never been treated right, and we're not out to be treated correctly for the contributions and the forward motion that we gave to this country economically, spiritually, then when you're leaving, because you're going to go back, when you're leaving and leave so that we can put that's what I said in the writing, so we can put the people together that can listen to the free fighter Malcolm, not being free dumb, but the free fighter Malcolm X and other free fighters to make America stand finally for American blacks. Because if it wasn't for, if we've never been American in treatment, whose fault is that? Because we keep on trying to be in coalition with other groups instead of being about American blacks. So whose fault is it ultimately? Who has the power ultimately? Because you can go to this. You can go to this right here, right? Now I saw this and I said, this is interesting. Somebody is visiting the slaves isles in one of the countries in Africa, right? And she says at the top of it, she shows the, it looks just like prisons. They said it looks like prisons. I've never been inside of a prison other than watching it on TV. And so this is what they say prisons look like, and that's what I've seen depicted on TV. He said, "Oh, I cried real tears today. The spirits of our people are still here, and you indeed can feel it upon entering this hellhole. I was okay until the tour guide took me in the execution chamber, shut the door, and talked about how prisoners and slaves were either hung or electrocuted and thrown into the hole until they could be piled up and thrown into the sea." Now, I've said this before. I've said this before on a TFRPodcastLive Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society podcast, right? We come on at 5:30 on Sundays, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I've said this before. If you can feel the people, and remember now, the tour guy is a black guy, and he's probably not living the best conditions, but he's saying, brother, welcome home. But you know, if you know what's going on in the different African countries with the prostitution, and you know, it's all good to talk that brother, but they say, you just visiting, brother. You're supposed to be rich. You're supposed to be bringing money, so I don't have to be even doing this. I should be working for you. That, we talked about that. Go back to the episode 132 of TFR Podcast Live, right? So they're saying, brother. If you can actually feel the people, then someone industrious should take that and turn that American Black, turn it into a hotel, into a haunted hotel, and have white people pay $1 million a pop to live in there, because you know, white folks love haunted houses, and they'll get scared out their wits, because if the ancestors are still there, they're gonna rip them from limb to limb. Because Paul Mooney said, who is still here, that if there was such a thing as ghosts, as much as Caucasians have done to American black people, and I just say the black diaspora, right? If they had done so much, they would be haunted. It wouldn't be like the movies where you see Candyman and he's haunting other black people. He would be crossing across the bridge and going to take care of them over there in outside of Cabrini Green, right? So let's continue on. I dream of angels, but I live with demons, right? Now, this all comes down to this point, is that there are external forces, but there is an internal force with you that gets muddied up and mud things, sometimes, but it gets muddied up because of external forces. But the answer is the divine dwells in you. The answer is the divine dwells in you. What you got to say about that?
This is such a simple yet profound truth. It's simple yet profound. It, with the complexities of religion, it has caused mankind to miss this point completely. It's over the head. It has gone completely over the head. And that which we pray to, or who we pray to, and that which we're looking for is inside of us all the time. With the exception of the earth disasters like quakes and, earthquakes, fire, forest fires, all that kind of stuff, it is speculation as to, you have to pay attention to what's going on spiritually in your spiritual climate in order to ascertain whether those things be sent from dark forces or if they're sent from God as a retribution for some type of activity that's going on in the earth that was contradictory or counterproductive to his plan, right? But everything else is on us. With Christianity in particular, needs to understand that when the Buddhists say, and when other people say, they talk about the guidance within, and some people refer to spirit guides, and some people, and it gets muddy, it gets convoluted, because some stuff is from the dark side. And so if you don't have your information correct, if you don't understand biblical principle, if you don't understand the purpose for that, if you don't understand the history and purpose for Christ having been here and walked the earth, then you'll miss the whole point. You'll miss the whole point. And that's what religion, that one in particular, has done to us. So when we put that within the context of the things that we face day to day, the reason why some of the philosophies of the Christian religion in particular look so far-fetched is because there seems to be no power, and then we relegate it to, well, in the afterlife, in the sweet by and by, everything is going to be all cleared up. No, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So whatsoever you shall say out of your mouth, whatever you decree shall be established. So it's on earth as it is in heaven, only when you, the people who reside here on the earth, bring that to pass. And we've been left with the power to do so in our inner man. The same man that Christ was, he was a man. He was a man. Let's make that clear. He was a man with God's spirit. We are mankind with God's spirit. So the same miracles he was able to work, we can. There are those that are doing it. But the problem is we are so distracted and so conditioned and so brainwashed and so taken off track and so self-seeking and so idolatrous of our own opinion, which has only been derived from partial information at best, that we cannot manifest those things. It takes a radical change of lifestyle in order to get out of you what's been put in you. The divine dwells within. The divine dwells within. There's no truer statement than that. But modern psychology and psychiatry and all kinds of things and philosophies has given us all kinds of excuses not to be who we really are supposed to be. And because the majority of those persons in those fields are agnostic, or they're not Gnostic, they're agnostic or atheistic, they don't consider God as part of those things. So we have it's like peeling back the layer of an onion, layer upon layer upon layer of things that have been built that take us away from who we are, and we don't know who we are. So here we are. We bring this within the confines and context of the African American or the American Black in relation to the American white or whatever, or immigrant or whatever. We bring this into the context where all of mankind is supposed to be operating as gods in the earth. What we are doing is we are grasping at straws and entering into battles where there are no spoils. At the end of these battles, you don't have spoils because you're not battling from the right perspective, from the right information. So here we have tried to disseminate information to you, and that you can digest and ingest so that you can correct your individual stance with who you are, with the divine dwelling within you, and bringing that to the live table of this earth and what we're trying to accomplish right now. And that's the only way it's going to happen. Getting out here and doing a whole bunch of stuff over and over again with history repeating itself that doesn't work is something wrong with that. You might want to ask yourselves, should I go talk to someone and get some help? Then you're going to be right back into it because the divine is within you. Your answers are within. So we're going to have to get off this hamster's wheel. That's all it is. It's a matrix within a maze in the middle of a house of mirrors. And until you break away from everything that you've considered normal, it's going to stay that way.
Stay that way. We want to say what's up and shouts out to everyone in the chat, on YouTube, on FB, on listening on 213-943-3358, on Blog Talk Radio. We want to say what's up to everybody on Periscope, Vimeo, Facebook, and Film Review Life channel on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, smash like, smash share on this video. Let people know we are taking this psychological journey today. Buckle up because it's about to get bumpy. All right, people. Here's another one. Speaking of the Matrix, right? Speaking of the Matrix. The Matrix loses its power when you think critically. Avoid the news. Observe yourself. Follow intuition. Speak your truth. Give energy consciously. Give energy consciously. That means don't let people steal or take your energy. Give it consciously. Don't let people snatch it from you. See beyond the division. Go inward, right? These are memes. There was also another meme that my sister posted. I thought that was pretty good to go along with that one. Now, here's another. Smash the share button because we are getting ready to hit the rubber to the road. And it's going to be a little bumpy, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be a little turbulence, right? We can say some international lover. Here's your flotation device because it might get a little bumpy, a little turbulent.
A little turbulent.
Okay. That's right. All right, people, look. Top natural painkillers, right? To be ready for anything that you're doing, you're going to have natural ways to solve your ailments, your pains. And it has to do with what you eat, how you eat, when you eat. And so we leave that up there, and it's up there big enough for you to come back later and to copy down. Now, everybody's heard of the pineal gland, right? That's what people call the third eye. So in context, we have to put this, so we're putting these memes in context because, the memes are out there by different people, and it takes putting them in context so that you will understand or have a middle standing or have an overstanding of your direction, because a lot of people are putting out a lot of facts, and it's up to you to get off the hamster wheel with that emotion and that mindset that trains you to be a drone and get into having your own mind state where you catch the facts, analyze, shoot the facts. Okay, here we go. So here's another. This one's pretty good. How to decalcify your pineal gland. That's your third eye. And here's something. I'm going to leave this up here for a few seconds. You can come back, freeze frame, and copy these down. This is, helpful, interesting business, right? So this is what we're talking about, right? Because you see, we are sitting in a situation where I dream of angels, but I live with demons, right? And you have to make sure that you're not being demonified. I want to make a new word, demonified, which brings us to the next meme, which gets us to hitting the rubber to the road on this, because we have another video presentation edited up by yours truly, so we're getting ready to get ready. I need to stop acting like I'm afraid of my own power and start to move as my highest self completely and unapologetically. I need to stop acting like I'm afraid of my own power and start to move as my higher self, as my highest self, completely and unapologetically. Oh boy, that is.
I'd like to say something on that one.
Okay, let me bring this down and go.
Part of the fear of our own power is tied to the aforementioned slides that you showed, the decalcifying the pineal gland, the right foods and nutritions to eat. See, everything is connected. So the foods transmit information, either negative or positive. Your brain transmits information, either negative or positive, light or dark, lightness or darkness. When I say dark, I don't mean, I mean from the evil side of things, evil. So it's either right or left. It's yin or yang. It's up or down. It's left or right. It's far left or far right. So all of that has to do with what we put in our bodies. We are very complex creations. We are complex machines. And in order to operate at 100% and not have the fear of our own power, see, when you're in between things, this is what happens when you're in between things. You started to change your diet. As you start to change your diet, you learn some new information. For some reason, you're being led to different videos on YouTube and things like that that's giving you some insights that your spirit now is bearing witness with. And the more that you feed your spirit now is gaining ground and wants to be in first position. But you vacillate when your diet vacillates. You vacillate when the things you speak out of your mouth vacillate. You vacillate when the things you listen to in your ears vacillate. So if you want to operate at 100%, it's going to take a discipline to stay on everything that's positive. It's not a denial of a present reality, but it's a greater acknowledgement of a greater reality, which either exists or does not exist within you, dependent upon how you process the information, how you apply the information, and implement the information.
So let's look at this first slide. Let's get some definitions, because it's very important. Why are we dreaming of angels but living with demons? Part of it is illusion. So we have to look at illusion. What is illusion? A thing that is or is likely to be wrongly perceived or interpreted by the senses. That's all illusion is. A thing that is or is likely to be wrongly perceived or interpreted by your senses. Secondary, a deceptive appearance or impression. We're mainly focusing on the secondary definition. Third, a false idea or belief. We did all three, actually, because it's your perception that brings about a person who may be able to bring you something and act like they're one way, but it's a deceptive appearance or impression on you to bring about a false idea or belief. Smash the share button, smash the like button. Illusion, a misrepresentation of a real sensory stimulus or stimuli, that is an interpretation that contradicts objective reality as defined by general agreement. Example, a child will receive, okay, I spelled that wrong. A child may perceive tree branches at night as if they are goblins, may be said to be having an illusion. The trees during the day look normal, but to the little kid during Halloween, they turn into looking like goblins. That is an illusion. We're talking about illusion, right? We're talking about people putting an illusion in front of you because you have been in pain And has that pain caused you to be a monster that cannot perceive correctly and do things that are against your best interest and those around you's best interest? Disillusion. Let's look at the word disillusion. Right? Let me bring this up so I can see it. Disillusion, an idiosyncratic belief or impression that is firmly maintained despite being contradicted by what is generally accepted as reality or rational argument, typically a symptom of mental disorder. Disillusion.
Delusion.
Delusion. That's what I meant. Disillusion. That is a word too, and I do have it up here, by the way. Delusion. Okay. Secondary. The action of deluding, or the state of being deluded, a belief or altered reality that is persistently held despite evidence or agreement to the contrary, generally in reference to a mental disorder. Delusional, a belief that is not true, a false idea or belief that is caused by mental illness. Now, there has been many opportunities for you to see who is who, and what do we say in the writing? What did we say in the writing? Have we forgotten just last year's news history? Are we that disillusioned with the system that we still allow ourselves to be tricked by a wing of the system to believe what our eyes are showing us isn't true? Are we that disillusioned with the system that we can be where an illusion can be thrown up, where a hologram can be thrown up, and you believe, because you've been so disillusioned by the system, that this hologram is actually someone that or something that is truly a representative of you. And if you continue with the delusional thinking, then it may be a cause for concern, because it may be possibly a mental condition. And like they've said, like, we didn't have time to get counseling and talk about things. We had to keep it moving. This delusional thinking. Delusions are fixed and false personal beliefs that are resistant to change in the light of conflicting evidence. Delusions are the extreme cause of irrational beliefs. These beliefs are obsessive and cause emotional distress. The delusional belief is something very important for those who hold them, or to those who hold them, for a matter of fact. Demons. If you are subject to falling for illusion, you are so disillusioned with the system that you are subject to fall for illusion. And when someone tells you that that illusion is actually smoke and mirrors, that it's just a hologram of your favorite religious belief, or your favorite pro-black belief, or what your belief is, and you come across that and you are so in delusional thought that you cannot recognize and see reality, then you are susceptible to demons. You are susceptible to demons because they are there to bring about an illusion, to make you do something that you wouldn't usually do, to make you do something that it is against your best interest. Demons is a supernatural being, typically associated with evil, prevalent historically in religion, occultism, literature, fiction, mythology, and folklore, as well as in media such as comics, video games, movies, and television series. The original Greek word daemon does not carry negative connotations, right? I have to throw that in there. You always have to have a counterpoint, because some people believe, when you do the research, that angels are demons, but there were the seraphim and some of the cherubim that didn't fall, that stayed loyal to God. They remained angels, and they are demons. But then there were demons who are angels, who are fallen angels, who took on the look that you see for demons once they fell in the earth. That's for another show. That's for another discussion altogether. A little too heavy of what we're talking about today. But if you are easily taken in by illusion, and when someone comes to you and says, this is an illusion, and you become so delusional that you take on a delusional mindset, not a mind state, but a mindset, you are susceptible to demons. And I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to let my sister speak. This is going to be controversial to some of you, and maybe not, but maybe others not, depending. But my opinion, my observation, Kamala is a shapeshifter.
That is hilarious. And for some reason, everything got right there. Everything completely froze. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. I see you now. It came back. It came back right when you said that. Everything froze up. But if you pay attention to things, you guys, we're going deep on you, and you're going to have to go back to the beginning where we started in episode 1 and catch up. It's imperative that you catch up. You need this stuff. The information that we've been giving you, you need it. You need it. It's for sustenance of life. You need it. It's for sustenance of your mind state. You need it. Well, to develop a mind state. Some of you have never done that yet. Some of you haven't developed a state of mind. You're in a mindset, not a state, right? But this is, now we're going in, because now this is, remember, you'll hear me say on my broadcast, you've heard me say it here a few times, it is the origin of a thing that determines its operation and its outcome. That is my coined phrase. It is the origin of a thing that determines its operation and its outcome. So now, when we look at today's situation, our present situation, we have to work our way backwards. We have to work our way backwards to understand, not to stay there, not to fight there, but to understand. This is what we've been trying to communicate to you. You have to know where you came from. But before that, where you came from on earth, you got to know what it is that drives there, what is on the earth, what is the foundation of the earth, what landed here first, What was here first? Before, once we were released, if you believe the story of the Garden of Eden and how we were kicked out for being disobedient or whatever, what was here first? There was something here before that happened, and that's still here. So you had righteousness, you had unrighteousness, you had good and you had evil, right? So what we're looking at now is a outgrowth, outgrowth of those two sides, right? So now we're coming to a pinnacle. I said that yesterday. We're coming to an escalation. We're coming to a climax. This is a climactic time where everything is about to blow. It's about to blow in several different directions, and you got to know what it is that you're looking at. Else you're just going to be a sitting duck and just a pawn on this chessboard, being movable whichever way whoever's playing the game is going to move you, right? You're not going to know anything, so you're not going to be able to be in a boss position to be a bishop, a king, or a queen. You're going to be a pawn if you don't understand what's going on here. So now we are here, and we just gave you these last 4 slides that we gave you, packed. That should have spawned you. It should have sparked something. I got to go do some deeper research on what they're talking about. Because now what is it? He just said, wait a minute, Tanya. Wait a minute. We hear what you're saying, but he just said that one of the people that we're idolizing for this time going around is a shapeshifter. What is that? I mean, what is that? Is that, I heard that before, but what is that? A shapeshifter is a person or being with the ability to change their physical form at will. Change their physical form at will. So that means they could be sitting before you like I am right now, and you looking at them. And if I look into the camera, you see my eyes change into several different colors, rainbow colors, all kinds of colors. They glow in the dark and all kinds of stuff. So that means if you see that coming from my eyes, that means that in another setting, I'm probably completely transforming into something else. My face and everything that you can see is in the eyes if you pay attention. That's why when you see people who are always walking around now, except for people who have like glaucoma and stuff like that, when you see people that's walking around at night with glasses on all the time, or they have a problem with taking off their glasses, they don't want you to see their eyes, that's because there is something there. And if you see it, you'll know the rest of the story, right? So now, if you look in this woman's eyes while she's talking, you see the lies before she speaks them out of her mouth. If you look in her eyes, if you look at her face long enough, you'll see, because people who do shapeshift, they have a way of trying to control it, but it always peeks out, right? It peeks out. It's like like I knew this woman one time. She was in a church. And I wasn't staring at her on purpose, but I'm one of those people who always catch that split second stuff. That stuff that nobody else sees. I see it. Like, I see it. So I would look at this person and she'd just be sitting there in the service. And then she'd be like, and I saw that a couple of times, and I'm looking around, said, anybody else saw that? Because she was in a prominent position. Could sing, too. The kind that wins everyone over. But she could not look at me for long. And I'm one of those people I'm hard to read. Unless you know me, I'm hard to read, and I'm like that on purpose. I will remain completely expressionless. while I'm seeing everything going on. And I'm seeing everything. So those people, they know when you can see them. And this is where we are right now. When I say we're at the pinnacle, we're coming to the time of climax. Everything imaginable in the earth that Hollywood been showing you in these movies all these years and putting it forth as fiction, that stuff is real. So everything that you've been seeing is about to come out. And where are you going to be sitting at? Where are you going to be sitting at if you walk into the grocery store and somebody shifts in front of you? Where are you going to be standing at if a police officer stops you for speeding, but then when they stop you and you go look at them, they look like a gray or something. That's an outer space creature. They look like that when they take off their hat or when they show you whatever, they look like that. What are you going to do? Are you going to have the ability to stand there? Are you going to have the spiritual know-how to know how to deal with that and not lose your stool right where you stand? Are you going to be able to do that? Because this is what it comes down to. If you have not, y'all, I have some people that I know that when I talk, I can tell they're like, oh, that's what she's on right now. She on that, so, she's doing her diet thing and everything. So, she's like when she get on something, she be on that. So she like a pit bull on that right now. And it's going to change or it's going to migrate to something else, but she's on that right now. No, you better hear me what I'm saying. You better be able to hear the prophets that God is raising up in the earth. And all of us are not, a lot of them are not coming out of the church circles. They're coming from everywhere. There's been a lot of prophets in the streets for years. There's prophets on rap records. There's prophets. You better be able to develop a spiritual ear to hear God. No matter if it's a bum on the street, it could be God talking to him. You better develop the spiritual ear. Be careful what you hear and be careful how you hear. You better develop the ability to hear. If you're not hearing, if you have not developed a vertical relationship, you better know how to hear from somebody who has, to get accurate information and direction and instruction. So we are telling you, this is the time of the climax where shape-shifting and other things that you've seen in Hollywood are coming down the pike. What are you going to do? Are you still going to be marching? Still going to be begging for reparations? We need what we need now so we can put ourselves in position. And nothing else, anything else is an offense. Anything else is non-productive. Anything else is unacceptable.
Unacceptable. We produce, at the top of the shows, every top of the show, we have a trailer of the movie The Shifter that's on Vimeo on demand. When my wife and I were in the store, it was one Halloween, and a young lady came in and she wanted to use the restroom. And I told her, I said, well, we don't have a restroom. So she went around. We had a reverse L. The way I had designed the counter, it was L, reverse L. Then it swung to another reverse L going to the wall where the pop machine was. And we didn't have a observation mirror as one of the panels yet, but I ordered one right after this. So she went back, and when she came out, she was a totally different person. She was a totally different person. And see, so when we write stories, when I write stories, I write from true events. If you want to know what it is to encounter a shapeshifter, watch The Shifter. It's on Vimeo on demand. You just go to Vimeo on demand, search Lordland Films, The Shifter, and it'll come up and you'll be able to watch it. Or you can go right over to lordlandfilms.com, and it's one of the swatches, one of the icons that you can click it and take you straight to the film. Watch the film. What we write is from true life experience, right? So now, people, without further ado, because it's time now for the video presentation. Smash the share button, smash the like button. You said Crazy D said that in his opinion, his observations, because these are our observations and just our observations and our opinions, you have to take what we say and go research. You said that Kamala Harris, in his opinion, is a shapeshifter. Oh boy, is she. Like on that debate the other night, like one way she'll be straight, like she's Caucasian. Next thing, when she wants to get with the blacks, to get the blacks to pull behind her and say she just like Auntie, she just like that. She'll put that little sass in there. I am talking. It looks phony. It looks contrived. Now look, I want to tell you this so this could be clear, right? We don't have any dog in the hunt or the fight on this, right?
Tell it.
So our thoughts are unbiased on it because no reparations, no vote. What happened to them talking about reparations? They talked about in the primary. They just dropped. They got you wanted to get the blacks interested. The blacks. They call them the blacks. We are American black. They wanted to get the black interested, so they talked about that. They had the different the CBC come out and talk junk. They haven't said anything else about it. Let the anti-choke law in the Senate get scuttled, and then try to say that the House did something. You got to go back to the other episodes. We laid that out already, where you're still unprotected. They're playing politics. They're shape-shifting on you. And then they put her up there, and she's shape-shifting, and she acts one way, then she gets up there and says, we're going to get the people by you saying, but she got her butt ate alive. There's such a term as, the term is called bias conjecture. Look up conjecture, Tanya. Conjecture. C-O-N, it's C-O-N-J-E-C-T-U-R-E. Conjecture. There's such a thing as bias conjecture. Because people, hold on one second, because people have been taken in by the illusion, and once someone brings you the truth about the illusion, the shape-shifting, you are so in delusion, you are so delusional, you are such in a delusional thought process that you do not see it, which leaves you susceptible to demons. And what is a shapeshifter but a demon? What is conjecture?
Conjecture is an opinion or conclusion formed on the basis of incomplete information. Lord have mercy. Incomplete. An opinion or conclusion formed on the basis of incomplete information.
There's a secondary there too, right? And a third, right? I believe.
There is, I guess it depends on where you look it up. Let me look it up in Merriam. Okay, so it's an inference formed without proof or sufficient evidence, a conclusion deduced by surmise or guesswork, or a proposition, as in mathematics, before it has been proved or disproved, or an interpretation of omens.
Okay, all right. So conjecture, right? If you are subject to believing the illusion that has been put out there for you, and someone comes and tells you, no, this is just an illusion. That hologram that they're throwing up there is not actually Tupac or Whitney Houston getting you ready to see Christ in the air, that the clouds that they had with the eyes beaming, that was not actually an angel. That was a That's another story for another show, another time. But they're showing you this, and you are so into the illusion that you become delusional and say, no. And you show the facts. You take an air machine and you blow the clouds away and say, that was just a hologram and they had the light. And you say, no, that was actually Whitney. That was actually Tupac. That was actually Jesus. That was actually Muhammad. And then the person shows you what it is, and they say, no, this is a shapeshifted person, and then you have such delusion, you go into delusional thought, you are subjecting yourself. You have opened yourself up to demons, and when you open yourself up to demons, what is a shapeshifter but a demon? Let's get started. What was our argument from the beginning of all of this cycle after coming from dealing with the shapeshifter 12 years ago? The one that came in who acted like he was, just my opinion and my observation. You go check the facts. You go listen to the words that the person said. How they could craft a speech about race, but really say nothing. But because he was talking about race, yeah. But he really was saying nothing. He was shape-shifting. It was phraseology at its best. We've broken down phraseology at its worst. Daniel Cameron, the AG for Kentucky. Go back and watch that episode. But his phraseology had you going, and you looked at him. He said he looked, but he was shifting and constantly shifting. And here we are now. So what was our argument after coming from 12 years ago, dealing with 8 years of the shifter? We said we want reparations. We want a package for American black people. They bring you this person up because it was about the women's suffrage movement and the women's movement, and they pushed her, and we talked about that in that episode. We're not going to go back and watch those episodes to catch up, right? But they put this person in front of you, and she was horrible because people said, oh no, we're not falling for the banana in the tailpipe again. We're not falling for that. So now they pick the person back up because really it's about a women's movement and wanting to have a woman off. Go back and watch the episode because it's been 100 years. Go back to the episode. We lay it out in nauseam. Okay. Now they put this person up here and she puts on the sassafras, because it's a sassafras and it is offensive to the American black who knows what they're looking at. That is offensive. And she got her clock clean at the debate the other night. What did we say? We said we wanted reparations. We want to talk about reparations and nothing that you put up other than that. So they're trying to give you something else that an illusion that will make you have delusion, which will open you up to the demon, which is a shapeshifter. And here we go. Let's start with Charlemagne. Charlemagne lays this out. This is from off of Ballad, and Charlemagne lays this out pretty smooth here. So we're going to go with him.
You know, we were having all of these conversations about, you know, what it is Democrats are not doing for black people. And, you know, if you look at what happened in 2016, 4.4 million people who voted in 2012 didn't vote in 2016, and more than a third of them were black. So I think a lot of black people just got disenchanted by the whole voting process. You know, they just chose to not, you know, want to be a part of the process. And what we're trying to tell Joe Biden is, if you really want to win in 2020, if you're telling us that you need the largest voter turnout in American history, right, in order to beat Trump and the voter suppression and the possible interference from Russia, whatever it is, if that's what you need, you're not going to go about getting it in this way. And by the way, we didn't just tell Biden that. We were telling every single Democratic presidential candidate that when they were running for president. What is your black agenda?
Hi, I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, and I make mental health education videos. A prodrome is an early stage of an illness where you can have some symptoms of a larger illness, but not all of them. So you have a little of this and a little of that. but it eventually builds up to the bigger illness. So in some people, delusional disorder can lead up to schizophrenia, but that's not the usual. In my experience, delusional disorder is not as responsive to antipsychotic medication. If the disorder doesn't cause a lot of dysfunction, you may not even go to get help or accept that you need to take something to stop believing what you do.
Right there. Let me stop that right there. Now, you need to go back. Now, you want to see what happens when somebody gets schizophrenia, paranoid schizophrenia. You need to go back and watch our episode when we talk about FANAP. FANAP, the commercial. We played the commercial. If you haven't seen the commercial about FANAP, it's got to be one of the most horrifyingly hilarious commercials ever, because the woman is, I hear voices, and other people I mean, and the black man and the Asian woman are walking down the street minding their business, but she thinks that the black man is looking at her, and they got that music on the back. So when you go into delusion, I'm trying to assist you, because because we don't have any dog in this hunt, right? No dog in the fight. So when this doesn't go the way it is, because people are obsessing over this because of the illusion that the media has given you throughout all these years so far of this man's presidency. They have given you an illusion, and you are obsessing over it, and you are putting up memes that are just insane, right? Which means once you
and the mere fact,
go ahead.
And the mere fact that these memes seem to be supported and undergirded by this, desired administration speaks to the childishness and speaks to the ineptness of the administration itself. So how in the world do you think they're going to be focused and concerned about what concerns you when they're engaged in such debasing behavior, when they're engaged in an agreement with such ridiculous stuff? It's really like looking at a clown show. While they use the word clown so often with Donald Trump, when I think clown show, I think of things that I'm seeing with this, and they seem to be so elated that they have people who support them that come out with this kind of stuff. So then when they go to camera, they begin to address their opponent in this this is supposed to be a dignified office that you're trying to get into, but you're addressing your other candidate, your opponent, with commonness. This is making them common, like there is no honor. The office is to hold honor. The office is honorable, right? But you're acting like a person that is not on the level because you don't realize the honor of the office. You don't realize it. So I'm looking at that behavior and I'm saying to myself, nah, I don't think I want that.
You know what? They call it in art, in creating art, illustration, which is an illusion. They call it pedestrian. That is very pedestrian. The way that, when y'all get a chance, look up the word pedestrian and you will understand what I'm saying.
I'm doing that right now.
Okay, pedestrian is what Biden acted the other night. When you act pedestrian, or another word for the cono would be common. To be common. And I'm not talking about common sense or the now called Common the rapper. I'm talking about common, being too common, being pedestrian. What is, since we brought it up, what is pedestrian?
As an adjective, it's lacking inspiration or excitement. Dull.
Lacking inspiration, dull. Let's continue on.
A delusion is a fixed false belief, and despite evidence that goes against what you believe, you still believe it. And since it doesn't make you globally psychotic and out of touch, many people will just keep to themselves about their beliefs to reduce conflict and get people off their back about getting help. So it's something people can live with without seeking help. Sometimes the intensity of the belief can come and go such that you get less focused on it. Then under stress, the thoughts can ramp up again.
To remain.
See, people are so fixated on this, and we are putting this out here so that you can relieve yourself. American black people gonna be all right. American black people, if you know enough of the history, if you just go back to 1920 till now, we gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right no matter what. It's the other people who hadn't seen what it was like to be treated like a and you're now they want you to join their force, and then when they get back to where they are, they're gonna say, "See ya." Fixating on it, you have to pull back from it because delusional thought process leads into schizophrenia. We don't want people to be upset of whoever wins, but we don't want you to be our American black people. We don't want you to be upset to the point where you go schizo and become a schizophrenic over this man getting back in office. Because you want to know what? If you know enough of the history, American blacks are going to be all right. So now, let's look at this shapeshifter for a minute. My opinion on it, the shapeshifter, right? We're going to take a look at her and watch how and then go back and watch video how she's one way with a certain group of people, with another people she wants to do it. So they say if you go out there and act like a black woman, you Jamaican immigrant, Indian from India immigrant born child who happens to be in America. If you go out there and act like an American, the stereotype of an American black woman and throw your hand, get sassy and roll your eye, the blacks are going to fall for it. That is offensive. That is offensive to American black people because black women had to do that to defend themselves against an invading horde on them that came from Caucasians who locked their men up, and the women had to become strong. So this is an insult. It is an insult to use that, and that is why you know that is a segregationist. And the people who believe in a segregationist, racist, using that stereotype to make you fall for the illusion. It puts you in delusion, which leaves you open to demons, to this, in my opinion, shapeshifter.
To remain calm.
Well, let's get but Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I want to
have
add,
to
but
weigh in
if, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I'm
speaking.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people.
Do you remember when Kamala Harris, she had that radio interview with Breakfast Club? It was released. We talked about it. She admitted that she smoked pot. When they asked her if she was pro-legalizing marijuana, she said, "Of course I smoked marijuana. Half my family's from Jamaica."
Because Kamala Harris was on a radio show, as Megan just said. They said, did you ever smoke pot? And she said something like, "Hey, I'm Jamaican. Hello, of course." And I inhaled, by the way. Doing a callback to Clinton saying I didn't inhale. Okay, so her father, who's a professor at Stanford University, was upset. He said it looked bad for the Jamaicans, basically.
Yeah.
And then he said, the father, when the Politico wanted to interview him, no, I don't want any attention on myself. Then why did you open your mouth?
But listen to what she said.
For a minute. The women, people who believe in women's movement, she disses the woman's father who did not want to be interviewed, but he interviewed with Jamaican press. That comes up next because he is a Jamaican who is teaching at university here. But he is a Jamaican. He interviewed with Jamaican press. And I knew that some of you would say, oh man, he put Fox News up, which you are in the illusion. So we decided to bring the liberal side. And the liberal side is dissing a man for wanting to uplift the conversation because the woman went into identity, quote unquote, identity politics, shape-shifting from out of her actual culture into a stereotype of American black culture, and you're still with her. It is a disgrace. You have fallen into the believing the illusion, which sets you into being delusional, which now opens you up to being susceptible to shifting demons. Let's continue.
Said on the Breakfast Club.
They say you oppose legalizing weed.
That's not true.
I know.
and look, I joke about it, half joking. Half my family's from Jamaica. Are you kidding me?
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay. Like
And I inhale. I did inhale.
And why not pick up the phone and call his daughter and say, you know what, babe, I don't like the type of stereotypical thing you just said. And by the way, she said it in jest. This is a woman who actually has a sense of humor and laughs easily, is self-deprecating.
That's true.
We need somebody who can laugh in the White House. How about people who can't laugh?
How about just
Now, this is when she was running for president, right? You wanted it that bad that you would, well, what did you care? You're Hispanic and you switch, soon as Trump got in there, you switched sides. The Republican Party is never going to have you back. What happens, because all this is shifting. All this is shape-shifting, right? You're looking at shape-shifters and you need to know what you're looking at. As soon as the Dixiecrat gets in there, then all of a sudden, all of these people who are on the liberal side, who were once on the conservative side, are going to switch back over to the conservative side to talk smack. You're looking at shape-shifting and you don't even know what you're looking at. People are spiritually, mentally, psychologically corrupt, and the media has pushed this signal to you, this illusion to you, that when someone brings facts to you, you say no, which puts you into delusion, which puts you into a delusional mind state, which then makes you susceptible to shape-shifting demons. Now listen to what they say. Listen to what they say. Oh, it's not a big deal. Well, why would you reference Snoop Dogg as if it was a big deal about smoking weed? Listen to this.
Being proud of the fact that you raised a daughter who's right now the front runner for presidency of the United States.
probably is.
I mean,
You're so right. You can't.
why
I remember
criticize publicly.
Well, and what he said was, my dear departed grandmothers, as well as my deceased parents, must be turning in their grave right now to see their family's name, reputation, and proud Jamaican identity being connected in any way, jokingly or not, with the fraudulent stereotype of pot-smoking, joy-seeking, and in pursuit of identity politics. Man.
And he added, and he had sent this statement to Jamaica Global Online. He said, speaking for myself and my immediate Jamaican family, we wish to categorically disassociate ourselves from this travesty.
And by the way, she's not exactly Snoop Dogg. She was talking about how she smoked pot once in college. It's not that big of a deal.
Right, he said, and proud Jamaican identity being connected in any way, jokingly or not, with the fraudulent stereotype of a pot-smoking joy seeker and in the pursuit of identity politics. So he
What does that
took it
mean?
very
I don't get what that
seriously.
part meant about identity politics, but
I guess meaning if you're Jamaican, you smoke pot.
But that's the problem, though, and it's not just
pretty
social media
upset.
and like the media jumping on you if you're for president. It really does cause conflict in your own family sometimes.
The campaign.
Well, then this goes on to say that the campaign had no comment. Now this was for president. Have we forgotten? And then all of a sudden, when she finally comes out, when she's VP, they flip up the script and they say that she's from heritage of Jamaican and Indian from India immigrants that came to the country for better, got married But then, so she's not even American black, but everybody keeps saying she's a black woman. This is worse than the shapeshifter they gave you, in my opinion. That was Obama. They gave you a shapeshifter in Obama, and you fell for it, and you're gonna keep falling for it. And I know that this is getting into a whole nother level. It's a whole nother level that most people don't understand. And if we got a caller on, but they're listening right now. But I'm not gonna be able to click in if you don't say that you want to talk within these 20 minutes. I'll talk within the 20 minutes, but I'm not gonna talk at 2 minutes till, because nothing's gonna get done. Okay, so let's continue on here. Yeah.
Had no comment.
Today, 2 of the ISIS killers.
Let's look at why she got her clock cleaned at the debate the other night. Videotape doesn't lie. Like, everybody is being distracted off by the fly, which is the fly put there or not put there. I thought flies move. They don't just sit in one place. They rub their, I'm just going to call them talons, their front legs together, and they're, what are they doing? Dropping, what do they call that when they drop gnats? That's what they would be doing, right? So this is a distraction. That is a distraction off of what you're doing, off of what of listening. She had nothing for the dude. She had nothing for him. I had said, we don't have a dog in the fight, but I like great debating, right? And she didn't have anything for him. Remember, as they're trying to cut the signal here.
Right.
Yeah, they're trying to cut the signal right now. She didn't have anything for him. We are presenting unbiased facts. We're putting the facts out there and for you to research. But there are people who are basing their decision on biased conjecture. And we gave you the definition of conjecture earlier. So it is uninformed thoughts and opinions on something that you have not researched. You have not researched it. You're just going along with the good vibrations, like you're drinking Sunkist. Remember that? You're drinking good vibrations. Come on, man. We're not at the beach. This is talking about our lives as American black people, and they are not talking about reparations. They put that in there to try to get us interested. They have not talked about reparations at all in the general running up to the election. They have not. And we're still sitting there listening to them. We're still sitting there listening to them, and they haven't said anything about reparations. No reparations, no vote. We don't have a dog in the hunt, a dog in the fight, other than say we need to abstain. There's yay, nay, abstain. I'm going to abstain, and I'm going to tell you, like Charlemagne said, that 3% of that 40-some million that didn't vote, it's going to be more because you didn't address what's important to us that will keep us right. while you're helping out the immigrant. The immigrant gets everything that the American citizen didn't get, and an American black was supposed to get by being a protected class. Let's go forward. So let's look at what 5 examples of how he just smashed Kamala while she was in that fake act that was disturbing and disrespectful and offensive to American blacks.
Today, 2 of the ISIS killers responsible for Kayla Mueller's murder were brought to justice in the United States. Jihadi John was killed on the battlefield along with the other Beetle. The reality is that when Joe Biden was vice president, we had an opportunity to save Kayla Mueller. It breaks my heart to reflect on it, but the military came into the Oval Office, presented a plan. They said they knew where Kayla was. Baghdadi had held her for 18 months, abused her mercilessly before they killed her. But when Joe Biden was vice president, they hesitated for a month. And when armed forces finally went in, it was clear she'd been moved 2 days earlier. And her family says with a heart that broke the heart of every American that if President Donald Trump had been president, they believe Kayla would be alive today. When President Trump and I took office, America had gone through the slowest economic recovery since the Great Depression. So when Joe Biden was vice president, they tried to tax and spend and regulate and bail our way back to a growing economy. President Trump cut taxes across the board. Despite what Senator Harris says, the average American family of four had $2,000 in savings in taxes. And with the rise in wages that occurred, most predominantly for blue-collar, hard-working Americans, the average household income for a family of four increased by $4,000 following President Trump's tax cuts. But America, you just heard Senator Harris tell you, on day one, Joe Biden's going to raise your taxes.
All right, let's stop right there. You see, we know already, to me, my opinion, all white folks are racist. It's just the degree and where are they, oh wow, they tried to clip us right there. Are they prejudiced, bigots, racist, white supremacists? Which way does it fall? That's what I say. So automatically, so how you know that the person is doing what they're doing that they believe in what they're doing is there is no excuse. It's just driving ahead, right? There's no excuse. Oh no, I didn't do that. When you see someone stand up and say, "Oh no, I didn't do that," that means that they don't really have a belief in what they're doing other than trying to advance. They don't have any belief in what they're doing. Anyone can tell you before the virus hit that everyone was looking for 2020 to be the year because everybody was like, hey, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. They usually say, okay, 2 years in, when you get 2 years in, it's no longer that the previous president's economy, it's the new president's economy. So this was going along and everybody was looking for 2020 to be good. We don't have no dog in this hunt, so we don't have to be biased. All we have to do is bring unbiased facts. When you picked up the phone and you talked to customer service, you talked to an American. You didn't talk to someone trying to act like they were American sitting over there in the Philippines. No offense to the Philippines, but we need American people to have jobs. As this gets closer, you start to notice that when you pick up the phone, you may pick up another Philippine because they're hedging their bets that they're going to be able to go back and outsource again where Trump wasn't outsourcing. So these are the truth. These are unbiased facts. We know who he is as a person. All the presidents were, though. All of them. So get off that emotional hamster wheel and deal with business. Because you're not going to change who the person is, the person that you're going out to the bar with, but when y'all go, that you've never been invited over their house, and if you are, they got people who ask you all kinds of strange questions. Come on, man. They're just as prejudiced, bigoted, racist, white supremacist, depending on which degree they fall. That's the way it is. That's just mind state. It is what it is, but what you gonna do? Shut down on it? Say America you've never been an American because of this, or you gonna get in there? Or you gonna get into the fight? And if you've never been an American, when you leaving to go where you going? Because I'm an American black. We built this boy. Okay, here we go. Let's go forward.
I'd love to respond. Look, lost the trade war with China. Joe Biden never fought it. Joe Biden has been a cheerleader for communist China over the last several decades. And again, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. When Joe Biden was vice president, we lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs, and President Obama said they were never coming back. He said we needed a magic wand to bring them back. In our first 3 years after we cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, this administration saw 500,000 manufacturing jobs created. And that's exactly the kind of growth we're going to continue to see as we bring our nation through this pandemic. But a Green New Deal, your massive new mandates, your Paris Climate Accord, it's going to kill jobs this time just like it killed jobs. We literally have spared no expense to help the American people and the American worker through this. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want to raise taxes. They want to bury our economy under a $2 trillion Green New Deal, which you were one of the original co-sponsors of in the United States Senate.
Up there in the debate and lied, and when you go to his website, it's right there. She said, "Oh no." Then she said, "Oh no, we're not for that." Then she says at the end, go back and watch the debate. Then she turns around and says, "And yes, we are going to get back into the Paris Accords." They have doing what they're doing, and somehow America got to pay some money while they're doing what they're doing. That's not fair. Everybody pays their own amount. See, the way I look at it is the more money that comes back to America, and then the more we get to talking about them reparations and quit helping other countries with reparations and start helping American blacks to be whole. So I think about American blacks. American blacks first.
They want to abolish fossil fuels and ban fracking, which would cost hundreds of thousands of American jobs all across the heartland. And Joe Biden wants to go back to the economic surrender to China, that when we took office, half of our international trade deficit was with China alone. And Joe Biden wants to repeal all of the tariffs that President Trump put into effect to fight for American jobs and American workers. Joe Biden says democracy's on the ballot. Make no mistake about it, Susan. The American economy, the American comeback is on the ballot with 4 more years of growth and opportunity, 4 more years of President Donald Trump. 2021 is going to be the biggest economic year in the history of this country.
Thank you, Vice President.
Once again, gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave a non-answer.
Trying to answer you now.
The American people deserve a straight answer. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack the Supreme Court if they somehow win this election. Men and women, I got to tell you, people across this country, if you cherish our Supreme Court, if you cherish the separation of powers, you need to reject the Biden-Harris ticket. Come November the 3rd, re-elect President Donald Trump, and we'll stand by that separation of powers in a 9-seat Supreme Court.
Yeah. Okay, so look, we just finished talking about the Supreme Court and why it matters for American blacks, right? But they're not talking about the Supreme Court for American blacks. They're talking about the Supreme Court for immigrants. That's what they're talking for. They're talking about the Supreme Court for everyone else and all those set-asides except for American blacks. I don't have any dog in her, because when you research what Ruth Bader Ginsburg, what she voted for, and her and Scalia were supposed to be the best of buddies, eating spaghetti with meatballs and listening to Pavarotti. Oh, son mio. Okay? Remember how we used to be at the house acting like we were opera singers? Ooh, we didn't even know about the black ones. Gonna find there were black opera singers all the time. Marian Anderson. Oh, son mio. Oh, so mana. Hit the high note. Come on, man. Excuse me. Anyway, I could be actually saying the right thing, but anyway, here we go. Look, I just got to chuckle at this. You got to keep a sense of humor. Look,
you have to.
Look, listen. Oh man, listen. We don't have no dog in the hunt. We're not voting either way, so it liberates us to say what it is. He shellacked her at it. She's not good at it. She's not good at it. And don't say that you would want to see her on the Supreme Court, because she won't be Thurgood Marshall. You should look up Thurgood Marshall and what Thurgood Marshall actually did and what he was for. And some people say he was an agent too, but you know, they said Al was an agent once too. Got to find out what they were agent for. Were they conspiring against those who were out to do harm to American blacks, or were they doing harm to American blacks? You have to figure that out. Because I'm not going to take the side of somebody that was putting dope in my community if Al was snitching on them. I wouldn't, take their side, because they were trying to destroy the American black community with heroin. No, hell no. No, get out of here with cocaine. Get out of here. So, people, let me just say this real quick then. I dream of angels, but I live with demons. I dream of angels, but I live with demons. And at this point, we need to wake up, because we're going to say everything that we need to say. We said this the other day. We're going to say everything we need to say. Then we're going to move on to other topics, right? We're going to move over to other and talk other things, because we've said what we need to say. Everything else just needs to go back. All these are life lessons that you learn over time, that we've learned over time, and we express it to you. And then after that, it's a life lesson. You can go back and read it. It's like the Bible. After you read it, you're supposed to be able to use what you learn like a textbook, and then go out and apply it. And they're messing with they're making me snowman over here. I don't know what it is. I've never been about snow.
I see that.
That's why I moved out.
I see that.
I've never been about snow. But anyway, people, in any way you could think of, I've never been about it. Smiles. Anyway, people, we've got 3 minutes. Got 150. Go ahead and close out.
All right. So, out of all the information we gave you, this is episode 33. That's 66 hours of information. We do a 2-hour show. You have to decide whether you're going to be a pacifist, which is a person who believes in or is opposed to war and violence of any kind, even if it's going to be to your benefit. And not right now, we're in a mental war. We're in a mental war against something that has to change. Now, the pacifiers or the pacifists, the pacify, they're pacifying you by bringing to peace, especially by use or threatening of military force. So what they're doing is they're ignoring you, and then they're provoking you by ignoring you. And then when you get ready to go do it the way you've been doing it, they're going to use military or law enforcement in order to put you away and do that. So you're going to have to form another way, or you're either to keep on being where you are. You're going to be like that man we talked about yesterday who faded off into obscurity and went to be a factory worker somewhere. And so you don't have a pacifier no more that they stuck in your mouth. You're going to be sitting there sucking your own thumb for some comfort and solace while they keep doing whatever they do to you.
Wow, people. So look, this is episode 33. Don't forget, this Sunday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, it's TFR Podcast Live, hashtag TFR Podcast Live, the film review, movies, music, culture, politics, society podcast. We've got reviews. We're breaking down in depth. Good Lord Bird. We're talking about the Devil All the Time movie. And we got some other surprises. And of course, we've got more Halloween films that American blacks can watch, and of course the black diaspora can watch, and will be satisfied watching it with black characters, and for many other reasons, but you will enjoy watching these Halloween films. So tune in this Sunday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, to hashtag TFR Podcast Live, the film review, movies, music, culture, politics, society podcast. We will see you next week with another episode of hashtag TFR Podcast Live OB. That's Observations by Crazy D, with my special guest host, my sister Tanya M. Gris. Get your notebooks ready and go back through this video. We're out.
Here's the thing about your movie, why I made the curator's pick of the Hollywood Fringe. Community, heart, crazy.